So I'm just doing a little easy jump blues in G, but it's got some couple little changes in it. So when I'm playing acoustic blues, especially, I love playing acoustic blues, and that's why I've done so many courses on it, and I think a lot of other people like it too. But I wanted to give you something a little more on the sophisticated side. So this is almost a little bit of, like I said, a jump blues, Chicago jump blues, but with a couple of changes in it. I hope you like it. So I'm just starting out with a G7th chord. Looks like that. So you know your bar G, right? So by moving your pinky off that, you get a really nice kind of funky jazzy blues G7th chord. Looks like that. You can also do it like this, but that's a little brighter than what I want. I want this. And if you take this down to its lowest denominator, it's really just these two notes. Okay, which is an F and a B. So it's a D3 and a G4 together. And it's funny because I talked about this a few times recently. If you really look at that, you can almost get a move it half step back to a C9. Just back and forth, you got a little jam going. So the chords I'm going to use in this lesson, I'm just going to do a G7th like that, and then a C9th. I used to call that the James Brown chord. There's your C9. You can play this a couple ways. You can play it like the way I'm doing it, with the bar on the high 3 strings and 3rd fret, and then your first finger goes to D2 and A3 with your second finger. That's what that looks like. If you find difficulty there, you can simply tuck your 3rd finger and your pinky here on the G and B string, 3rd fret, and then again that first finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, 3rd finger, 3rd fret of the A string, just like we had it, except rather than barring here, or if you find that some people find that difficult, just do this. Just have your 2nd and your pinky there. That'll pretty much do it, especially for what we're doing here, because they're really kind of abbreviated versions. They're not full versions of the chord, although that's the sound. Just got a cool little jam back and forth from the G7th to the C9. And what's cool about that is you can get, whoa, yeah, you can improv on it. Almost has a little bit of that Jimi Hendrix vibe to it, Up in the Skies, which is we'll explore another day, but that's such a great, cool little jazzy blues thing. So those two chords can work wonders, really. If you're sitting around jamming, either with a friend or even playing by yourself, I like to just kind of get a little pinch going. Now, if you want to play it with a pick, you can. That's fine. Get that rhythm going. But if you're able to and you're comfortable, I like pinching it with my thumb and my first 2 fingers. So I'm basically leading that I call it a target note, that low G, which is a E note, or E chord, E string, I should say, 3rd fret. So you hear I'm doing a. Kind of makes it swing a little bit. The other thing you can do is you can do a little hammer on that G7th chord. If you take your 2nd finger and rather than starting with it on the note, which is a B note, if you hammer it from your bar position like that, this is a little bit of dance, but here's what it sounds like. to take it one step further, and I don't want to get too crazy with this, if you want to do a turnaround, you can just take that C ninth chord and move it up 2 frets, one whole step. You got a D chord, which is your 5 chord in the blues, and then back down to the C9 and back to your G. So there's a million ways you can mix these chords up, and I'll show you several ways right now, but just watch what I'm playing, and I'm not gonna try and teach it as a set, you know. It's not really written in stone where you can go with it, but like for instance, if you're doing the blues and you're just going to your 4 chord, back to your G, not to the D9, to the C9, G, back to the D. Okay, that would be an example of one way to do a little jump blues thing. But what you can also do is, if you're adding that little hammer on, I'm doing a G to a C there. That's a C bar, right? You've seen that. So by doing that, it's a little lick. And then back to that half step. That's a cool little move. Just going from a C sharp 9, same chord, and then back to a C9. You get this sound. Pretty cool. Back to the G. And then to your D9. And this time, we're going to do a chromatic walk down, which means we go a half step at a time. Okay, what was that? So that was just, you take that D9 chord, which is exactly the same shape we've been using, and you just go, you walk it down a half step, okay, and then to that C9, and back to your G. And you don't even have to do a turnaround, you can. Totally optional. Let's just go into the 4 chord, and then so there's a million things you can do, and I want to go further with this. We're going to do a deep dive lesson on this particular type of jam, and in that I'm going to do some of the things I'm about to show you right now. So I wanted to kind of give you a little teaser of what's to come. So check this out. I'm going to get free with this, but basically it's just really the moves. Get it all done with 2 strings, which I've given a little lesson on that, but this is kind of taking it further. So here's a little example of where we can go with this, and I will see you down the road. So check it out. I'm going to play us out with this. More time. Little jump blues for you. Thank you.
My friend Jimmy has the coolest guitar lessons. Go to jimmydillon.com/free and get all your amazing gifts. He's the best.